Dads, the biggest war against your children's destiny, that God's purpose being, is how you spend your time. You know, either directly or indirectly, you're communicating. My dad's absence communicated to me. You know what it communicated to me? You're not worth my time.
Well, Father's Day is upon us, and it's the time we like to honor Dad. But Dad, men in general today, may feel on the sidelines in a cultural shift that's focusing on women and their needs. Pastor Kenny Luck says it's time to wake the sleeping giant of men's unique qualities that they can tap in to help build stronger relationships with their wives and their children. Pastor Luck is the author of a new book called Dangerous Good, The Coming Revolution of Men Who Care. Welcome, Kenny Luck. How you doing?
Laura, I'm doing so good. Thanks for having me. I love that intro.
It's great having you on. You know, you mentored under Pastor Rick Warren at Saddleback Church, and everybody knows he's the author of The Purpose-Driven Life. What did you learn under him, and particularly about creating ministries for men?
Well, you know what? We started Saddleback Church based on reaching men. We had a person called Saddleback Sam, and we diagrammed him. We talked about who he was, how he had 2.5 children, and how he was married and what he was struggling with. And then we built our strategy around reaching men, because Pastor Rick and I both felt that one of the greatest gifts we could give the community were spiritually strong, emotionally mature, and relationally committed men.
You know, a lot of houses of worship, and this is across the board, it doesn't matter what religion, you know, they're filled with a lot of women. So why are men so sidelined, not just when it comes to religion, but really almost in the general community?
Well, it's not a place of greatness. At least it's not perceived to be a place of greatness, where we're raised as little boys to compete, and there's limited resources out there. And if you win some of those limited resources out there as a man, you're going to climb the ladder of success, whether that's financial success, athletic success, whatever it is. Those aspirations for greatness, the church is not generally viewed as a place to be great. But then what you find, Lauren, is that when you have men chasing all these other types of identities of materialism or hedonism, or even the narcissistic title pursuit, those identities don't serve them, and then they come back to church. They sort of boomerang back to church because they need character to make relationships work.
You know, what do men really want, and what do they need, and are those things the same thing?
Yeah, you know what they want, or what they think they want, is not really what they need. For example, you know, your bank account can't hug your kids. The kind of car you drive doesn't make you a well-engineered dad. But there is the sort of the caricature of what success is. We chase it, and then while we're chasing it, we find out that our relationships are fragmenting and getting atomized. And so then we go back and we go, well, wow, where do we find values, character, and an identity that gives us healthy relationships? So there's what we think we want, which is image and position and some of these things that look really great on the outside. But if we don't have the insides or the character that has the capacity to make relationships work, in the end we feel immature and like failures. And so that's where my focus on men comes in. I catch them right there, and we help them get the character they need to do relationships right. Because if they don't do relationships right, Lauren, they don't do life right.
Yeah, you know, one of the problems with men begins when they are boys, and there have been several articles written in the last few years, last couple of decades, in fact, about the ignored crisis with boys, you know, and things about, you know, they are more likely to be on Ritalin. You know, everything is geared towards not how boys do anything. So should we be focusing more on their fathers in order to get to these boys?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. The reactions to a lot of the symptoms happening, especially in our major metro urban cities, like incarceration of young boys, high school dropout rates of young boys, unwed teen pregnancies involving young women and boys, those symptoms, you have to address the symptoms by addressing the root. And the root is the formation of young boys in families. All the sociology is unequivocal that families are our first community of acceptance. All the sociology and research is clear psychologically that if they don't have a close relationship with a father and experience acceptance from him in the home, that they will find acceptance outside the home, usually in unhealthy peer situations or in other communities and they'll do negative, unhealthy things to just belong there. So yes, we have to address the root cause, which is the hearts of men, educate fathers on the importance and the impact that they have on young boys and the generations of chaos and dysfunction that are launched when boys don't get time from a dad, talk from a dad, and appropriate touch from a dad.
Wow, that's a powerful stuff. You know, really quickly, what's the best thing we can do for Dad for Father's Day?
You know what? We can encourage dads on those three levels. Spend time every chance you get, develop a talk routine, and do just because touch. You know, I did that with my kids. I developed a bedtime routine. Chrissy, my wife, was out of the picture. You know, the kids were mine at bedtime, and it's a time when they're relaxed, they're all showered up, they might even smell good for that matter, and you talk with them. If you're a person of faith, you pray with your kids, you process with them, and that is one easy way for dads to connect. And then dads, if you're watching this, play with your kids. My good friend at the University of Virginia, who's done the longitudinal study on dads and play, it's unequivocal, the results. Dads are the fun guy, all right? And that gives us context when we're the fun guy to actually bring boundaries and limits successfully into the lives of our kids. So don't abandon the play, guys. Take them to the pool this summer. Spend as much time. Throw them around. And moms, I know that you think that somehow they're going to break a bone. Don't worry about it. He will catch them when he throws them up in the air.
Oh, yeah. When they do break a bone, they can come back and get comfort.
Yeah, that's right. Then they run to mom for comfort, and they run away from dad.
All right. Thanks so much, Ken. You know, the book is called Dangerous Good, The Coming Revolution of Men Who Care. And Pastor Kenny Luck, I want to thank you for being on A Spirited Debate.
You got it, Lauren.
All right. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Lauren Green.